It is time for overcoming hurdles this morning. Like we were talking about, if your child didn't have a great fall semester at school, being back in class may make them feel anxious about what's to come, right? So today we want to help you as the parent, give you a little bit of hope so that you can give them a little bit of hope. Lisa Vernon with Marlo Joy Solutions says there are some steps parents can take to turn things around and make their children feel like true overcomers at school and beyond, of course. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Erin. How are you?
I'm so good. I have to start this conversation not talking about the children, but shouting out to you and everybody else with Delta Sigma Theta. Happy Founders Day
Thank
to you.
you for acknowledging that. I have
Yes,
a
indeed.
little reminder here.
Yes, look, she came in with the elephants, and I was like, okay, my aunt would be so proud right now, so I have to give a shout out.
Thank you for allowing me to say that publicly.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's talk about the kids, right? We want to help them overcome those hurdles. So parents have a hard time maybe getting their kids to open up as far as conversation, getting them to come to them and say, listen, I'm having a hard time in school. How do we go about that? How do we open up those communication doors?
I think in schools, as a licensed social worker, in schools, the counselors do a great job and the campuses do a great job by allowing parents to understand emotions and using that as common language in the schools. And so parents can take those common languages and lessons and exercises and bring them into the folds of their home. How we can connect that is understanding that our kids is what I call in the window of tolerance. Are they hyper aroused? Are they hypo aroused? Or are they in the window where they can receive information and that they can give information? I think that's the first step that we take, is understanding when to approach our kids when they are anxious, giving them the space that they need so they can nestle in and settle down and get back online emotionally in order to have these conversations. So knowing your child's emotional status is very important to know.
And that's so true, because you want to be able to give your kids space, right? Because they're human too. I think a lot of the times we're like, oh, they're kids, they don't feel these feelings, you know what I mean? They're too young to feel those feelings. They don't know stress. But it's like, yes, they do. They just may feel it in a different way. It may stem from different things, but the feeling is still the same. So like you said, giving them the space to feel actually what is coming to the surface. Can I ask you, what levels do you think tend to bring hardship to parents and also to children? I mean, where is the challenge really sitting at?
The challenges are, and I say that in plural form because they're tricky transitions is what I've always called them as an educator. Going from elementary school, going directly into middle school, going from middle school to high school, and then graduating. Our seniors have a lot of pressure on them. So these developmental transitional times are really the times where the challenges lie, and just making room for those stressors, those forms of anxiety when they come up. But usually looking at those transitional times are the biggest factors when it comes to grades.
Life changes. They're hard for everyone. We were just talking about stress and how it can show up in different ways. Okay, usually when the report card shows up, at that point it's a little too late because it's already in writing at that point. So what signs can we look out for? Maybe we need to tap in a little bit more, because we have to realize as parents that we're the first teachers.
We are the first teachers, and here's what I've always done. As a parent and as an educator, really being mindful of the academic calendar. And what does that mean? There's the IPR that's like right before the middle of midterms. That's when you start to see the grades. When you have the midterms, that's when you see grades as well. Finals, big assignments, even when they're in elementary school, they're getting grades as early as 3rd grade. So just going to curriculum night, grabbing an understanding of what they're learning, having them teach you what they're learning, because I call it teach me how to Dougie. So sitting there with them, teach me how to Dougie, you teach me what you're learning, and then they're also learning in the same process. So it's really important to sit in the school with the teacher, and then ask the teacher, send home what they're learning. I want to learn too. Have you tried to do math?
Because at a certain point, the algebra taps out on all of us, and we all need to relearn. Oh my goodness!
And just using those tools to reteach for themselves and for you to grab an understanding of what they're learning.
But you're saying basically to stay tapped in. Don't just drop your kid off and hope for the best and hope that someone else is teaching them. Make sure that they are tapped in and know what's going on as far as the curriculum. And heck, like she said, you might learn something too, and probably relearn something in the process. You also also say to have a family agreement. What does that look like?
A family agreement plan is a plan that this is how we agree to treat one another as a family. And it is a handwritten, which would be a really great art activity to do at home. We need to bring home back into our home, bring community back into our home. And how do we do that? Let's make some things that we agree to do as a family. I think that as the first teachers, we have to model the expectation, use common language as it relates to emotions, giving them permission to not be okay, being vulnerable as parents, giving yourself permission not to be okay. Wow. Cry in front of your kids. It's cleansing.
And it's real.
It's real.
Show them true emotions.
Yes.
I like this. This is very good. You're going to different schools to spread these tips and tricks. Tell me, how can we find you and keep up with you?
Keep up with me with marlojoysolutions.com, and I appreciate being here again today, and happy Founders Day.
Yes, indeed. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you.